Welcome, one and all, to It's All on the Wrist. I think, what's this? Number 3, It's All on the Wrist 3? Doesn't really matter that much. In fact, let's get some tunage going here for this. There we go. And my screensaver kicked in. Nice. On my virtual machine. Ha ha ha. There we go. Okay, this will start our Wizardry adventures here. We're going to go take a dip back in time quite a ways here to the basically the computer game that started it all for me. Got me out of my pencil and paper D&D phase when I went over to a buddy's house back in the early 80s to check out his new fabulous personal computer. And one of the programs, so to speak, that he had gotten along with his personal computer was, wow, a computer game. And here it is, Wizardry. Originally made by Surtech Software, a Canadian company. Back for the original releases were for the Apple computing system, so to speak. Back for the Apple II, I believe, which I do have, and it's still running, and I still have some original Wizardry discs for that. Very nice. That was 78, 79, right around that area, and then Wizardry really hit its stride when it came out for the PC, so to speak, for the IBM 8086 type computers. And this here is what we are playing. This particular one is on a virtual machine I am running Windows 98 on. And this comes from the Ultimate Wizardry Archives, which came out around about 1996, I believe. It was a compilation on 3.5-inch floppies in some cases. Or was it... actually, no, this was a CD. The Ultimate Wizardry Archives were CD. Compilations. Let me crank that down. There we go. That basically just ported the original Wizardry games over to CD, and you can play them on more modern systems. At that time, of course, it was Windows 95 and then 98, of course, following. So these, I don't think they're compatible with Windows 7. I actually haven't tried, really, because I've been running these in virtual machines for years now. This virtual machine I'm running now was actually my original physical HP Pavilion running Windows 98, on which I was playing the Ultimate Wizardry Archives, and when it got time to upgrade, I just converted this over to a virtual machine and just started running it on XP and upgraded it to Vista. And then when I upgraded the host machine to Windows 7, as I just kept porting this virtual machine over. Makes it very easy to play some of these older games that don't rely on 3D graphics acceleration. So here we have it, the Ultimate Wizardry Archives. This is the first game in the series, Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord. Eventually, before Surtech went out of business and folded, they made 8 official scenarios for this particular series of Wizardry. Again, this is Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, the first one. There was Wizardry 2, which was called Knight of Diamonds, I believe. Then Wizardry 3 was called Legacy of Lil Gammon. Lil Gammon being the world in which the first few scenarios, back then they were actually called scenarios and not campaigns, were set. Wizardry 4 was called The Return of Wordna. And it was a break from the series in that in that game, you actually played as the evil bad guy we're actually going to fight in this game. at some point. The point of Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord is to go through a 10-level dungeon. On level 10, we have this evil wizard who stole something from Lord Trebor. And Lord Trebor hired us to go get it back from Werdna. So, in Wizardry 4, we actually get to play as Werdna after he was defeated by us. And we have to escape from his dungeon prison. Now, the unique thing, or interesting things about Wizardry 4, The Return of Werdna, was that the enemies that you fight as Werdna were actually characters that were created by players of the initial 3 Wizardry campaigns. Back in these days, these campaigns came out on 5.25-inch floppy disks, and on occasion, you would the disks would get damaged, or they were somehow password protected or something like that. You could password protect your actual disks. And if you lost a password or couldn't retrieve your characters, what you could do is you could send your floppy disk in to Surtec, and they would retrieve your characters for you. So upon doing that through the years, when it came time to release Wizardry 5, they actually took copies of the characters they retrieved from people and made them the enemies that you fight as Werdna in Wizardry 4. Now, the Wizardry games really came into the forefront, really hit their stride with Wizardry 5, Heart of the Maelstrom, and that's because Bradley, I think it was, I can't think of the guy, but a very popular RPG maker at the time. I believe his name was Bradley. I should have looked that up before I started. But anyway, no fun. I have a Wizardry set anyway. Easy enough to find on the internet nowadays. Wizardry 5, Heart of the Maelstrom, was really one of the top-rated computer role-playing games, CRPGs, at the time. And that was early 90s, I believe that came out. Maybe even sooner, like between 88, 90, 92, right around that area. It was also the last of these scenarios that had the stylized look of the white line or green lined dungeon mazes that we'll actually be seeing once we enter here. With the release of Wizardry 6, we actually got a graphics update, so you actually could see the walls and stuff. No more white lines or anything like that. So Wizardry 6 was Bane of the Cosmic Forge. Wizardry 7 was... I forgot what the exact name of that was. But then there was Wizardry 8, which I sort of subtitle Race to Ascension. There was no real subtitle to that campaign. It was a Race to Ascension is what I usually refer to it. And that came out, Wizardry 8 came out around 2002, and shortly after that, Surtec folded. The IP was bought up by a Japanese game maker, and since that time, most of anything that you see Wizardry, the name Wizardry attached to it, has been a Japanese made game. And of course, just recently, a year or two ago, we've had Sony Online Entertainment port over a Japanese-based MMO, Wizardry Online, to the West. So now we can play Wizardry Online in all its hardcore glory. So look for that in one of our upcoming episodes of Cat-Assing with Poop Socks. We'll be showing off some Wizardry Online. It's a free-to-play game, not really the best looking game, not really the best design game, but nonetheless, it is Wizardry, sort of. It gets you sort of in the vein of these games that we have that started it all, really. So this stays true for the most part to the original series. So the music we have playing here, since of course these are old ports that didn't have music of their own, rather appropriate. The Jeremy Soule compilation for Dungeon Siege 2. So since we're running Dungeons, I figured we'll run the soundtrack to Dungeon Siege 2 in the background while we're getting on with this episode. Okay, without further ado, as you can see, text-based. The Apple II releases were actually more text-based. I'll point out the differences once we get into the UI here. So you cannot play without making a scenario disk, and basically the scenario disk was where you got a blank floppy and it basically made a copy of the game to play on that blank floppy, so you didn't end up ruining the master copy and basically screwing yourself over. But since this is a port, we don't need to do it. We can hit S to start game, and here we are in the main screen of the castle. We are in the castle of Lil Gammon. So Gilgamesh's Tavern is where we go to form our party. We can have a maximum party of 6 adventurers. Adventurers Inn is where you can take your adventurers to rest. So they recoup hit points, they recoup their spell points, and of course they do grow older. They will age the more you take them to the Adventurers Inn. Temple of Cant is a healing temple. So if you end up having a character die in the dungeon, you can bring that character back and have the monks at the temple attempt to resurrect that character. But they are not always successful. Sometimes the character then turns to ashes, and that character and all the loot on him is lost forever, which is one of the things that Wizardry Online sort of takes to that. It's the hardcore where if your character died, it's dead, it's gone. With the Temple of Cant, the same thing. The character can be lost, I believe it is lost, which means it's sort of like defeated is a downed thing, but they can still have the chance of being resurrected. But if the resurrection fails, they turn to ashes and everything is gone. Boltax Trading Post is, as you might imagine, where you can sell and buy various equipment. Edge of Town takes us to another menu. Some of it is a training grounds where we can inspect all the characters we have created, and of course that takes us to the maze. So Gilgamesh's Tavern, let's go in there so we can add, remove, inspect, basically doing different things with characters. So we would want to add a character. So as you can see, Tarkin, Shreve, Curtis, Kimball, Tivis, and Miwu are all pre-generated characters that were created for the Ultimate Wizardry Archives. One of the things about the original series, or original scenarios, was that you could actually port your characters from game to game. You can actually, whatever characters you have here, you could actually copy them to another scenario. Up Wizardry 1, 2, and 3, and I believe Wizardry 5 was also included in that. Of course, 4, you actually didn't use any characters, you played Wordna. But all the normal campaigns, 1, 2, 3, and I believe it was 5, if you in the original floppy disk version of the game, you can actually copy characters from one scenario to another. Now, of course, there were some weapons and specific items that are campaign specific that wouldn't be copied over, and of course your characters would go back to being level 1 characters in each of those campaigns. The thing is, there are 8 different professions here. 4 of them are very difficult to create from the outset. 2 of them are actually impossible. The Lord and Ninja, you actually couldn't create until you leveled up characters enough in order to convert them to change their professions in the game. So the good thing about having that character copy option was that say you were playing Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, you leveled up a Lord, you leveled up a Ninja, you can then take him to the next campaign and start fresh with a Lord and Ninja instead of having to level up and then eventually convert the character to that profession. Unfortunately, the Ultimate Wizardry Archives did not keep that feature, so as such they created some basic characters for you to play with if you didn't want to create your own. Start with creating your own. Now I knew there is an option, so we'll go through character creation real quick. Enter to leave, which would be under Edge of Town. So Training Grounds basically gives us our list of characters where we can also create. We can see our roster of characters, tells us their level. All level 1 noobs, their alignment, neutral, good would be E for evil. Their profession, fighter, mage, thief, priest, mage, bishop is one of the more advanced professions. Samurai, more advanced profession. So bishop, samurai, lord, and ninja are the advanced professions. Fighter, mage, thief, and priest are the basic professions. Now, samurai and bishop are rather... bishop, rather, is easy enough to make at character creation. Samurai, you can get it. A little bit difficult. You have to keep re-rolling your stats before you can eventually get a samurai. Lord and ninja, again, I said the required stats for creating those are just too high. You can't get them from an initial roll. And of course, their race: human, dwarf, gnome, hobbit, elf. I think those were the basic races. Human, dwarf, right, 2, gnome 3, hobbit 4, elf 5. I think that was it. Yep, just those 5. So we'll go back there and inspect character. So if I want to inspect that character, Tarkin, I can inspect. So basically just keyboard menus. Your strength, these are your stats here. How much gold he has, his level, his age. Armor class, the lower the armor class, the better. Number of hit points. Status, this tells you if you're okay, if you're poisoned, if you're sleeping, if you're lost, if you're dead, if you're ashes. A lot type of thing. And of course, if you're a spellcaster, these tell you how many spell points you have in each level. Read, if you're again spellcaster, allows you to read actually your spell log. So we'll get out of there. Change class is where you go if you want to upgrade. Alter password is if you have a password protected, that's where you would change that. Roster of characters, I think we looked at. Yep. Inspect, so let's go create a character. So first we'll need a name for our character, so let's do Sir Hanok. And your password, we don't want to password protect him. So we can just enter past that. So what will we make him? Human, elf, dwarf, gnome, hobbit. And each one has different base stats you can get. So a dwarf, starter stats is more suited to a fighter. An elf, of course, a spellcaster. Gnome is more suited to a priest. Hobbit more suited to a thief. Human is sort of your jack of all trades, master of none. So let's say we want to make Sir Hanok an elf, so we would hit B. We got our choice of an alignment. Neutral characters can group with either good or evil. If you're a good character, you cannot group with an evil character. If you're an evil character, of course, you cannot group with a good character. Now, there is a tricky way around that. Now, Gilgamesh's Tavern is where you go form your party. So if you have a mix of good and evil characters in Gilgamesh's Tavern, once you pick a good or an evil character, those characters of the opposite alignment will no longer be available to you. However, if you want to mix and match characters, what you do is you form your party of your good characters, take them into the maze, then you leave them camping in the maze. You go back, you form your group of evil characters, you go into the maze to the exact spot where you left the previous party, you search for the party, and that will bring up the previous characters, and then you can just add them to your party as long as you don't go above the 6th limit combined. So I can take 3 good characters, leave them in the maze, go back, pick 3 evil characters, go into the maze where I left the original party, search for them. It'll bring up, hey, we found some characters here. Do you want to add them to your party? Yes. And then they adventure together. Now, however, comes the tricky part. Good and evil can change their alignments while you are adventuring in the maze. Now, good characters, while you're adventuring in the maze, you will run across monsters, of course, which is the main point of the game, fighting monsters to level up so you can get strong enough to fight Wordna. But on occasion, you will run across a group of friendly monsters. Now, if you are of good alignment, what you want to do is just say hi, bye, and leave the friendly monsters in peace. If you're evil, you want to fight those friendly monsters, because if you do the opposite, if you're good and you fight friendly monsters, you will eventually change your alignment to evil. If you're evil and keep saying hi, bye to the friendly groups of monsters, you will eventually change your alignment to good. So if you have a group of good and evil members partying together, eventually, based on how you react to different monsters in the maze, you will end up changing the alignments to all those characters based on how you interact with those monsters, either good or change them to evil. So, and of course, certain classes can only be one or the other. A samurai can only be good. A ninja can only be evil. So we'll go neutral because a mage can be neutral. And here's our starting stats. And we have a bonus of 5. So that's not really going to get us a whole heck of a lot. So what we do, we can move our arrows down, I think, somehow. Tab, 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 if I remember how to do this now. Whoops. Okay, arrows, see that will tell us we have enough to make a fighter. Mouse doesn't work, it's all keyboard moves. Enter moves pointer. Maybe I should learn to read. We can get a mage. Don't have enough for priests. Priests can only be good or evil. A priest cannot be neutral. That's what that is. So I remember vitality is the number of, generally affects the amount of hit points you get. Agility is how you can dodge attacks and unlock traps. It helps with that. So a thief likes agility. And luck is sort of one of those RNG random type things. The better your luck helps a thief with disarming traps. Better your luck, sort of helps you with attacks and stuff like that. So it doesn't affect any classes until you get to the more advanced classes. Each of the basic classes only relies on one of these stats. So a fighter only relies on strength. A samurai will actually rely on strength, IQ, agility, that type of stuff. Of course, I don't have the manual in front of me to remember what each one affects. Ninja requires a certain amount in each and every one of them. So again, that's why you only get a certain amount of bonus rolls. We can keep going back saying, no, eventually it's say I don't like having only 5. I want to have more. So what I can do, I can just do this. Okay, I'm going to select mage. We'll go escape when finished. Select class. Be mage. Keep this character. No, because I didn't like that role. So we'll go create. We'll go Sir Hanok. Again, we don't need a password. He's going to be an elf. He's going to be a neutral mage. And as you can see, now we have a big bonus. Now, if I had selected good, I could probably have enough to make me a samurai with him. But, so fighter, again, most of these, again, priest can't be neutral, so agility, 11. So now I can have my choice. Oops. I want to go back to vitality, bump up vitality, which means I'll eventually get. It doesn't necessarily help your starting hit points, but you'll get more and more hit points as time goes on. And of course, every time you level up, these stats will also change. Some will go up, some will go down. But again, now you can see I have enough hit points to actually, or stat points, I should say, bonus points to be able to select from 3 different professions. Now, if I had made a good character, I could probably have made him a bishop. So let's try that. Keep this character. No, we'll do this one more time before we go and actually jump in with our elf. B, we'll make him good this time. 15 good, so we can go, if I remember correctly, should be 12, yes. So 12 IQ, 12 piety. I can get me a bishop, which is basically a combination mage and priest. They will learn both mage spells and priest spells, although at a slower rate than if you were just a mage or just a priest. So very nice. I still got a ton of bonus to go, but it is what it is. Oh, I've got to do all my bonus. And 18 is the max amount you can have in any stat. So there we go. So escape, select class, bishop, keep this character. No, because I already have pre-generated characters, which I am going to use. Leave. So back to Gilgies. And as you can see, I made some of my own characters. I got me a couple of samurai in there, fighter. Now, positioning is very important in these games because as you're traveling through the mage, monsters will melee attack the first 3 characters in your roster, and then the characters who are in the back can be hit by spells and stuff like that, but generally they are more out of the line of fire. So you want your heavy guys up in the front and your weaker mage squishy guys in the back. So we will start with our samurai, fighter. A thief, though, is a melee character, so we are probably going to have to put him third. So it's 1, 2, 3. So we will go priest, I think, next. Then we will do our bishop, and then we will do our mage. There we go, armor class 10. So they basically got no armor. So now I can inspect characters in my party. He has no equipment, as you can see. No equipment. No equipment. No equipment. No equipment. They're rather naked characters. No equipment. Do we even have any gold? Let's see. If I pull gold to this character, I have 991 gold. Alright. So I think what we're going to end up doing is remove one. Oops. There's our spell books. So remove one. We'll add A, B, C, D, E, and F. Fighter, mage, fighter, so I'm going to have to reorder them a bit. I think these guys have nothing either. Okay then, I thought they started with armor, but they do not. So inspect, full gold there, 968. So what we'll actually do then, it's been so long since I played this. So we'll go back, we'll remove one. We'll just start with our characters, buy them some stuff then. So we'll go I, K, L. I had my priest, bishop, and mage. Oop, G. Let's go there. So we will go to Boltax. We will start with our samurai. He's going to have to buy some stuff. So we will see, long sword, short sword, mace, flail, staff, dagger. Let's see what else we got here. Small shield, large shield, robes, leather armor. Remember what some of these guys can wear. I think we'll buy chainmail. Purchase chainmail. Just what you needed. Yes, thank you. Go see forward. Some potions. Leather chainmail +1. Way too expensive, of course. Buy him a long sword. Purchase. Just what you needed. Should get him a sword or shield or not. Well, you know what? We will just start. Number 2. We need to pool golds to him. We will buy our longsword. We will buy our chainmail for him. Backward. That's good enough. Enter. Okay. We want to leave. Next will be our thief. He needs to buy. This tells you what we can and can't use. So, short sword. We will buy him a short sword. Oh, I cannot afford that. Why not? Oh. We've got to pool gold first. Then we can buy. And now we can buy our short sword. Oops. Buy again. Thank you. Forward. He should be able to use leather armor, right? Yep. So back to purchase leather armor. He is done. He can use a small shield too, so we'll go back and get the shields once we get the basic stuff that everybody needs. Thief. Number 4 is our priest. Pool gold this time. Let's buy. Anointed flail would be nice. That's rather expensive. Because we still have our bishop and mage to kit out. So we'll go on the cheap. We'll buy the mace. We'll go forward. He can wear chainmail, can't he? Yeah, so we will buy him chainmail as well. Purchase chainmail. Cool. Leave. Number 5, our bishop. Pool gold. Let's buy something. Ah, you know what? He can only use the mace. I might trade the mace to the bishop and get the flail for the priest if I have enough left over. So let's do that. So we'll just buy him his backwards his leather armor. Purchase 5. You will enter number 6. Pool gold. Buy. Get him a staff or dagger. Let's see. Because he can't use anything else really. Staff +2. That would be nice. So staff. Staff and robes is basically what he can use. So we will purchase a staff. Then we will purchase robes. And that leaves us with 500 gold points. So we will go back on our priest. Who will enter number 4. We will pull the gold. He wants to buy now the anointed flail. Just what we needed. Good. Okay, we'll go back to the samurai. Actually, the thief. We'll go thief first. Pull gold. Oops. Let's go back. Thief. Pull gold. Buy. Goes forward. We will buy him a small shield. Get him backed out. The fight's on. Pull gold. Buy forward. Buy him a large shield. This is number 3. Samurai, pull gold, we'll buy him. Oops. Buy. Forward. Purchase. Large shields. Excellent. So 251 left. So the first 3 guys, priest and bishop, we'll see if they can use shields, and that will be that for buy forward. We can do a large shield, so let's pull the gold first. We will buy forward to purchase the large shield. We'll go back to our bishop. Pull gold. Buy forward. He can use a small shield. Purchase to small shield. Excellent. Go samurai, pull gold. So gold on one character. Leave. Okay, so what we need to do now is go to the edge of town. Actually, Gilgamesh's Tavern. Let's do this first. Inspect number 1. We will equip longsword, chainmail, large shield. See, now they're in inventory. You can hold a max of 8 things in inventory, and they're asterisked if they're equipped. And of course you can see my armor level went from 10 to 4, so I actually got some protection there. So inspect number 2, equip 1, 1, 1. Go back, inspect number 3, equip 1, 1, 1. Go back, inspect number 4. Now we want to equip the flail for him, so we'll go equip. We want to do number 2, 1 and 1. We'll go back, inspect number 5. Okay, we can actually trade, so let's do that. You can trade in the maze and at Gilgamesh's Tavern, so we'll go back to number 4. What we want to do is trade. We want to trade with our bishop, number 5. We don't want to trade gold, so we have no gold. We want to trade item number 1, and we're done. We'll go back, so now we go to our bishop, and he has his anointed mace, which we can now equip. He's good. To the mage, equip. So who do we have here? We have mage spells, boop, we have Halito and Catino. Of course you have to know what these do, and the only way you can do that is actually reading the manual or the guide we have to Wizardry on our website, www.realmillenniumgroup.com. Go to RMG Gaming, there's a banner on the front page that leads you to that page. Look for the Wizardry Online banner, and you will see a little link next to that for our Wizardry guide. Still being worked on for the past decade and a half. Eventually we will get it completed, just like we will eventually get the Guild Wars guide completed and the Star Wars Old Republic guide completed. But Halito is the attack, sort of like a fire. Sparks, little sparks or something like that is the translation. So it's like a little electrical spell. Catino puts people to sleep. And so I can only cast either one of those twice or each of those once. And then I run out of spell points. And I have to come back to Adventures in, rest, and that will replenish my spell points. So we will go back and we will see our priest. Our priest, we want to read his spells. Our priest spells. Dios, Badios. Dios is a healing spell. Badios is a basically attack spell, damage spell. And go back. We will inspect our bishop. We will read what he has. Right now he just starts out with mage spells. Mage spells, of course, are the same. So it doesn't matter. Samurais will also learn mage spells. Lords will learn priest spells. There's no difference between the class. All the priest spells are the same. All the mage spells are the same. So any class that could eventually use those spells, they all have the same spells that will, you get higher levels of spells and stuff like that, but eventually all the mage spells are the same, all the priest spells are the same. Okay, and bishops can identify items. If you have an unidentified item and you don't have a bishop, you can take it to Boltac, he will identify them. But of course for a cost. If you have a bishop, you can do your own identification. The only danger is if it's a cursed item, sometimes during the process of identifying it, it may become bound to the bishop and do bad things to him, in which case you have to go to Boltac, and then Boltac will remove that cursed item permanently, again, for a cost. So I think we are good to go. Samurai, fighter, thief, priest, bishop, mage. I think I'm happy with that. So we'll go to the edge of town. We will go to utilities. Again, change name, move characters. Move characters where you can transfer them from one campaign to the other. Again, just a holdover from the original campaign series. Unfortunately, the Ultimate Wizardry Archives cannot do that. Restart an out party. That's where you go. If you leave a party in the maze, you restart an out party. You'll come up with all the characters you have out in the maze somewhere. And it will know which character. If you have two different parties out there, you will pick one character. That'll tell you who else is partying with that character. So leave utilities, edge of town again. We want to go to the maze. Oh, it removed everybody. You bastards. Alright, so we have to go to the castle. We have to go to the Gilgies. We have to add samurai, fighter, thief, priest, bishop, mage. Thank you. We'll go to the edge of town again. Now we will go to the maze. And now we are down in the maze. Here you can reorder your party if you don't like the order. If you find out you have your mage in the lead, which is not a good thing, you can do reorder and change them around. Equip again if you want. Do a mass equip of things there going. It'll go through each character. Inspect, of course, I can look at who's got what. All that fun stuff, so we don't need that. Stairs up. No, we are not taking them because we just took them down, so we'll say no. As you can see, even with this, the text takes up a lot of the maze. So what we can do, status, we can turn status off. I can turn off the top bar, and that hit O again. That brings them back on camp. Basically, where you start off with in the maze. We'll go leave. Stairs, take them up. No, we do not. So we'll turn everything off for the moment so we can see. And you can see our stairs here. So this is back in the glory days, of course, of computer gaming before there was the auto map feature. And as you can see over here, I actually have my map I made. So we are right here. Now, the original Wizardry mazes are basically, as you can see here, just a 20 by 20 grid. 20 up, 20 across, and it does wrap. So as you can see here, if we're traveling down this corridor, we go through this door, and we pop on back over to that side of the maze. And we go there. So I have my key down here, so, you got your stairs. You have your points of interest here. Sometimes they're items. Sometimes they're just a sign that brings up text. The little bumpies there are our doors. Those in particular are one-way doors. So you can only go through them one way. So if we were here, we could only get out. We can't go back in that way. The line is your normal two-way door. The little S is a secret door, which means you don't know it's there until you actually try to go through the wall and you find it. I think in some of, like Wizardry 5, there's actually a spell that you can reveal secret doors with. I don't recall if we have that here in Wizardry 1. It's been so long. And of course, this is a one-way secret door. One-way secret doors here. As you can see, normal doors, again, points of interest. The red bars are what they call dark zones, dark areas. As you can see, not much difference, except in the NES versions of the game. This Wizardry 1, and I should also add Wizardry 1 and Wizardry 2 were actually ported over to the original NES system with updated graphics, so you had your sort of Wizardry 6 type graphics to where, but you had an option to either do the classic white line maze, or you can do your textured walls and that kind of stuff. And of course in the NES, these were actually dark zones. You enter a dark zone, the screen goes black, you don't know, where you are, what you're doing, so which is why you need your map. You need to count how many steps you're taking. Each block is basically a step. And of course, Wizardry 5 was ported over to the Super Nintendo system. That's where I really got my teeth dug into Wizardry and just ran away from there. I played, on my friend's computer system. We played it for a little bit, but it wasn't constant. Of course, I didn't have my own computer system to play it on until we got our IBM PC XT, but by that time I was also playing these games on Nintendo, so I mainly played them for the most part on Nintendo until the Ultimate Wizardry Archives came back and I started playing them on them again. But of course, always went back to my IBM once I was able to pick up some of the original campaigns on the original floppies, and now that system died a few months ago, and now I'm relegated to this again. But let's get on with it, shall we? So WASD is your movement keys. You can see A and D actually just turn you in place. W is forward. there is no backward, so you actually have to turn to go back. So that shows us our stairs. So what I did, I turned to face that direction, and we are going there, then there, then there, then there, then there. There's a secret door there, which we can't go through. There. As you can see now, we can see a door. Now there is a spell that actually is sort of like a torch, and it'll actually light up a longer portion of the maze. So we are here, we go there, we are there, and of course we are at the dead end, so we can turn around, we can go this way. We are now facing this door with this little room here. The parts in blue are areas of the maze that you can actually explore, but there's no way to actually go. There's no doorways to get into them. You actually have to use a spell called Maelor. It's a transport spell, so when you use that spell, it's a higher level mage spell, so you can't use it for a while. But once you get that spell, what you do is say, I want to use Maelor, then ask you, well, where do you want to go? So this is where having your grid becomes important. Well, I want to go to, 8-1, 8 north. I want to be facing north, so I would say I want to go to 6-1, and that would put me right there, so then I can explore that little region of the map there. So what we'll do to go through a door, you just go through the door. Oh, and we have our first encounter. The NES and SNES versions actually had music, whereas the original computer versions didn't. I was thinking about playing them because I converted them all to MIDI. I figured, well, you'd get tired of that after a while, because eventually playing it on the SNES, it gets mind-numbingly insane listening to the same thing over and over. And they surprised us, so they get first attack. So far they missed. Oh, they hit my samurai for 1 damage. Ooh, hits 4 damage. That takes my thief down to... He's almost dead. Fabulous. Samurai's option, well, he's going to fight the bubbly slime. We got 2 groups. Oh man, this is not going to turn out well. Bubbly slime. Fighter's going to fight. He's going to fight the bubbly slime. Thief is going to parry so he can defend himself, or should I... You know what? I'll take the chance. I'll have him fight the other bubbly slime now. The priest, he's going to have to cast a spell. And see, this is where it's important to memorize your spell names, because you have to spell them out. He's going to send Diossi. He's going to cast that on Thief. So Thief hopefully doesn't die. And let's see, Bishop. You know what? He's going to cast Dios as well. Actually, no, you know what? He doesn't have Dios, does he? He has only mage spells, so he's going to cast Catino. And he's going to cast that on number 2. Hopefully put some of them to sleep. Mage, he's going to do the same thing. Because sometimes, of course, at this low level, some spells will work on some monsters, some won't, so it'll be hit or miss. So we're going to hopefully double our efforts here, put them to sleep so they can't attack us, and we will now let the fight progress. Good. Now, the longer this stays up, which means... Oh, okay, somebody did not get slept. Slept. Okay, so we've got 1 not asleep. So it looks like... Okay, so only 1. Now this is going to hit the same monsters. So it looks like that one that the bishop missed, the mage got asleep, so we don't have to worry about them. Bubbly slime is killed. 6 hit points. Sweet. Bubbly slime is killed. Now we have 5 orcs. Now this number up here tells us how many are actually active, which means those 2 Catino spells got them all asleep. They're sleeping, so we can just go ahead and bash their heads in now. So default option for samurai is fight, fighter fight, thief fight. Of course, there's only 1 group now because we destroyed the slime, so I don't have to pick the monster. Priests, what we got? Thief It's up to 7, so we will cast a spell. We will actually, yeah, why not? Dios. Because if you go to the Adventurers Inn, it will. There's different levels of the inn that you can stay at. Higher levels are more expensive, but they also provide greater benefits, such as more hit points restored, more spell points restored, that kind of stuff. But since they're expensive, we don't want to spend money. We're just going to cast Dios here. We're going to cast that on Samurai because he needs healing. Bishop spell. I don't think he has Dios, right? Right, we don't know that spell, so he's just going to spell his Halito now. Mage, spell Halito. As you'll see, we'll be going back to the Adventures Inn to recover our spell points here. So we'll show that. I'll explain that after when I go to show that. So we'll go Kadank. Orc is killed. Orc is killed. So we're down to 3. 2. Yay, Samurai is healed. Wow, 1 damage. Great, Bishop. Great. So now we are down to 2 orcs left, and now, of course, they are awake, so we will just go fight, fight, fight. Parry is default option now, so we can just have them parry, which will block potential attacks, because these guys should be gone now. We will take care of them. Aha, you missed. Oh, I missed. One orc left. So fight, fight, fight. Parry, parry, parry. We're good. And the samurai finishes him off. So this actually uses a lot of monsters, so we get some nice EP, experience points, back in the day. Uh-oh. A chest. So now it's time to inspect. Sometimes you'll just get gold and weapons outright. Most of the time will be a chest, so inspect. Who will inspect? Our thief. Okay, so he thinks it's a stunner. Somehow I doubt it's stunner. So we'll have him inspect again. The more you inspect, the potential danger of setting off whatever trap it happens to be. You already looked. Now, priest and bishop. There is a priest spell called, I think, Calfo. Yep, there it is right there, Calfo. Which you can cast. If you've learned that as a priest or a bishop, and that will also try to identify the chest. Of course, let's try to see for you don't. Yeah, see, he doesn't know that spell, so. Or is it mage? Let's try. Yep, see, they don't know that spell, so it doesn't work. So what we will do, we will try to disarm the trap. Our thief again. And we need to spell the name of the trap. Spelling does count, both for spells and traps. Stunner. And it was stunner. He got it right. Again, in the early levels, thieves may not always identify the correct trap. And if you try to disarm the wrong trap, you get hit by whatever the actual trap is. So we can wander around. Another encounter. Oh, they surprised us. Oh, and this is not going to be good. At least they're missing. So they don't have a lot of spells left, and we are badly outnumbered. Oh, and he is paralyzed. At least they're missing with their attacks, so that's good. Uh-oh. Thief got nailed. Oh no, our samurai is killed. Fabulous. Samurai is dead. As you can see the stats. So what we're going to have to do here is run. Run. And we survived that encounter with only 1 dead. So what we need to do now is run back. Stairs, take them up. Yes. because we got our butts kicked in that fight. So what we have to do now is Temple of Cant. Who shall they help? The samurai. Donation will be $250. Who will teeth our fighter? Oh, we do not have 250 gold. So we have to get out of here. We have to go to Boltax. Keeps our party together. Who will enter? Fighter. Let's pool the gold. Pool the gold. We only have 75 gold points apiece, so we cannot resurrect our samurai. So what we will have to do, we'll have to go to Gilgamesh. We will have to add samurai number 2. Fabulous. And he doesn't have any armor either, and we don't have enough for armor for him for the most part. So we have to go back. We have to go to Boltax, who will enter number 6. Pool gold, samurai 2, because our first samurai had all the gold. Okay, so we've got some gold points there. The question is now, should I try to use the gold to resurrect the original samurai, or should I just buy samurai 2? You know what? We'll take the chance. We'll go back. Who will enter? We'll go to the Temple of Cant. Who shall we help? A. Who will teeth samurai 2? Hopefully this works. Yes, he has been resurrected. It worked. So we'll go back to Gilgies. We'll remove Samurai 2. We will add Samurai 1. G. We'll inspect Samurai 1. You see, I think he might have aged a bit. He might have been 14 or 15, so resurrecting ages you. And the more your character ages, the less efficient he gets to be in combat. Well, that's a ways down the road. So, okay, so we will pull the gold. Pull gold. There's like no gold. We have no gold left. One. Pull gold. There we go. 206 gold. We'll leave that on the fighter. Leave. So what we need to do now is go to Adventures Inn to rest. Who will stay? So, really, who's got hit points? Thief and Samurai actually need to be healed. So let's go to Tavern. I think, can we? We'll see. Priest is in third now. Yeah, so we have to be in the maze to cast spells. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's go back to the castle. Let's go to Gilgies. Suspect a priest. Okay, yep. So he has no priest spells left anyway, which is good. So we do need to go to the Temple of... No, we need to go to Adventurers Inn. Who will stay? Our spellcasters. Our priest will stay. As you can see, the stables are free. They will only basically recover spell points. The cot will recover spell points and some hit points. Economy rooms, again, spell points, a little bit more hit points, and of course the Royal Suite is very expensive, and it basically gives you a lot of hit points in recovery if you need them. So what we will do, he will just stay at the stables because it's free. He's napping. And that tells us how many more experience points we need to reach a level 2. So, priests, we will go bishop. He will stay at the stables. You see, he needs a little bit more. So each class will advance in levels differently. Of course, the higher level classes will require more experience in order to reach the next level. Your basic classes, you know, fighters generally need very little experience points to advance. Thieves, same thing. Priests, a little bit more because they're a bit more advanced class, but that is that. So, priest to bishop, we want our mage to enter. He will take the stables. 877. So we have our spell points. So we can now go to the edge of town. We can go to the maze. What we want to do now is reorder. So we want samurai first, and we go fighter, thief, priest, bishop. Okay, so people need some healing, so we will do inspect number 4. He will cast a spell. He will cast Dios on Samurai. He will cast a spell. Dios, he will cast this on Thief. Ugh. So this is where some of the tedious grind comes in. Leave stairs, take them up. Yes, adventures in. Priest will stay. He will stay at the stables. We know. Go back. Edge of town. Maze. We will inspect our priest. We will spell Dios on Samurai. Good. Oops. Wrong key. Priest. Spell Oops. I need to spell it correctly. Dios on Thief. Of course, he needs one more. Yes. Adventures in. The priest. Stables. Good. But we will leave it at 8 for right now. Edge of town. We will go to the maze again. Leave. Stairs, take them up. No, turn the status screen off. So we are now facing this way. We already had our encounter there, so we're just going to go up this way. So, boop, boop, do. We're there now, so we're turning to face that direction. We'll go doot. We'll see what's in this corridor down here. Our door, and we have our encounter. Yes, we surprised them this time. Sometimes the monsters will surprise you, sometimes you'll surprise them, sometimes you won't surprise each other, and you will just fight. Take turns fighting. So fight. Priest, we will... of course, if you surprise the monsters, priests cannot cast spells for some reason. Just, I guess, mechanics, balance-wise. But what they can do is dispel. And dispel is not a spell you actually learn. It's not part of your spell things. It's a bonus that priests and bishops can do, and it's basically they can dispel undead creatures, they can dispel ghosts, skeletons, zombies, anything that's sort of considered an undead creature they can attempt to dispel, which makes it vanish. You get no experience or gold from those creatures, but it does eliminate them from combat. So in this case we will parry, and let the fight commence. Now, right now, these monsters, we don't know who they are, so we only know they are a small humanoid. Once we figure out who they are, either via spell or just through combat, we eventually find out who they are. They are now, we find kobolds, so we should be able to finish them off by fighting, parry, and let the fight commence. Oh, now my thief is dead. Fabulous. I should have cast a spell. Alright, so we will go fight. Priest will... Well, he'll need healing spells. We'll let that. Bishop, we will cast a spell. Halito. Mage will cast a spell. Halito. I got too overconfident. And we finally got him. Thank you. And of course, it's a chest, and our thief cannot open it. So we will just open the chest. Oops, poison needle. but we still get our gold points. And hopefully our samurai was able to resist. No, he wasn't, so if he's poisoned, he will start losing health as we travel. So let's turn on the screen. Let's get back to town. Stairs, take them up. Actually, no, not yet. Let me do something here. Let's camp. As you can see, he lost some hit points now. Let's camp. Let's do inspect 6. She has no gold. So what we can attempt to do is equip. None. Trade. Trade with whom? We will trade with our samurai. I think we trade 1, 1, and 1. So what we can do is that. So we're going to cheat here a little bit. As you can see, I had a good roll with him. Agility and luck. It did not help. Go back. Now we can leave camp. We can take them up. And that should cure samurai by getting back to the castle. So now we will go to the edge of town. We will go back to the mage. We will inspect our priest. He will cast a spell. Dios. On samurai. That heals samurai. We will actually inspect fighter. We will pull the gold, 276. That won't leave us with much gold left. So what we're going to end up doing is, leave, take them up. Yes. So we will go to the edge of town. We will go to training. We will create a new thief. Of course, it's going to tell me. Oh no. Okay. Thief. He will be a hobbit. He will be neutral. Thieves cannot be good, I think. Bonus 5. I don't like that. Yeah. Enter. Oops. Escape. We are done. Thief. No. Create. Thief. No password. Hobbit. Neutral. Bonus of 9. No good. Okay. Well, we'll do this another day before our next episode. We will take care of this. We will create a new thief. Oops. We want to go there. Well, that's not too bad. Yeah, so leave Gilgamesh's Tavern. Add Thief 1L. He is dead. Escape. So, anyway, that takes care of that. Let's see where our time is on here. Alright, it's already been over an hour, so we'll call it an episode here. Tune in the future episode. We might not do the next episode of Wizardry. We might mix a few things up. We might, do different games and then come back to Wizardry at some point. But stay tuned. We will eventually fight Wordna in this series. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I will see you in game.